Jordan Reese.
Benjamin.
How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. I'm okay, yeah.
Look at this big sweaty man. What's his name?
His name is Nemesis, the big N.
So the big, okay, a big N, the Nemesis. Wow, okay.
That big N.
That one, and he's not Mr. X, is he?
No, he's not. So Mr. X was the tyrant. Nemesis is something different. He's another umbrella experiment. So what we've just missed here, main menu and me selecting a difficulty, which for this I've selected standard. And now we've got a lovely FMV video. Which
like
one?
FMV videos.
Have you seen one of those since the fucking 90s in a AAA game? 2, very problematic with the current goings on. The first words you hear are, the pandemic is spreading like any other disease and all this kind of stuff, and we've got a president saying they're closing down the states and all this. So yeah, it's a bit weird considering, current subject matter.
It's a bit close to. I thought the Division was quite close to that, but it sounds like this is even more. So what kind? So John, you are not a person who likes to go after trophies. You've mocked me. You even turned trophies off, and you mocked me for getting platinums. And now you are. So you got the Resident Evil 2 platinum. How are you dealing with trophies in this game?
Yeah, I've got the platinum.
And the game came out just a couple of days ago.
It came out on Friday, and this is Tuesday. But in my defense, I don't care about trophies, and I've turned the notifications off for trophies. But and we'll speak about this more during the footage. But Resident Evil is all about replaying the game, doing certain challenges and that kind of stuff. And basically, the challenges within the game mirror the trophies. So basically, if you're playing the game, you're essentially on your path to that platinum anyway. So that's kind of why I've done Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 as my pretty much only platinums, and maybe my only ever platinums.
I'll wait till the remake of Resident Evil 4 to get your next one.
No, thank you. So just to explain what we've seen there, so lovely FMV, we saw the Nemesis getting carted onto a helicopter. The Nemesis is a monster created by Umbrella to hunt down STARS members, who are the elite squad who star in the first game. And we're just waking up now in Jill Valentine's apartment. So let's see what that looks like.
So you play only as Jill in this game, or is it primarily as Jill?
Primarily as Jill. It's not a spoiler. You also play as Carlos, who actually works for Umbrella. He's an Umbrella mercenary. And he was in the original game as well. But in this, you kind of... If you remember in 2, you played as Ada.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. You get a couple of sequences playing as Carlos. A little bit more expanded than Ada's. So this is Jill's apartment. I'm kind of walking around now. Kind of a bit of a fake out. If you weren't following this game, you might actually think that this is like a Resident Evil 7 first-person type deal. This is only for the start of the game. You just get to explore her apartment. She's obviously gone conspiracy nuts since the first game. She's got a big map on the wall, loads of notes. There's a lot of stuff to read. Notes are a big thing in Resident Evil. I kind of skipped this for this playthrough, just so you can kind of see. As you can see, she's extremely beautiful.
Okay, that helps.
There's a lot of neckbeards online at the moment complaining that she's not beautiful enough. It's basically because she's not dressed slutty like she was in the original game. But she's a very beautiful character. I
was watching somebody play this, and is it on PC as well, or is it just PS4 at the moment?
It's across the board. It's Xbox, PC, PlayStation.
Okay. I don't know if they were playing with a mod, but all I saw was they were playing as a topless man.
That'll be Carlos, and that's a mod to take his top off.
Oh. And how much is this game again, John?
I'm sure we can find it for you for pretty cheap.
Oh, well, she's a zombie.
She's a zombie now, spoilers.
Ooh.
Or is she?
Yeah, and so wait, this game is... a lot of the complaints I hear about this game is that it's only 5.5 hours long. Now, the last time you finished this, Jordan, how long did it take you to finish?
I can finish this game in 1 hour, 5 minutes.
So, is that a waste of money?
No, because I've played it for 30 hours.
Okay. And
it's just absolute nonsense. Like, Resident Evil is at this point built for speed running and replayability. So yeah, sure, you can go through the campaign once and do it in 5 hours. I think it took me just under 6 hours for my first playthrough. Yeah. That was at normal difficulty. There's 3 other difficulties above that, and then loads of challenges. The game is literally built for you to run through multiple times. I've played for 30 hours to get the platinum. I'm very much done with the game. But I think 30 hours is pretty good.
And also, I mean, Far Cry 5, you can finish that in 10 minutes, can't you?
You know, it's it's a bit of a red herring, isn't it? That like to say the game quality equates to the game length. We know that's not the case, right?
And
otherwise, Witcher 3 would be the best game ever made because it's so long and it's also looks really good.
Breath of the Wild. But I would also say as well that it depends. It's value for certain people. Like someone like you is going to play it for 30 hours. Someone like me, I will just play it once. I'll play the story, get to the end like I did Resident Evil 2 Remake, and probably not play it again because I'll just be experiencing that story that one time. So for me, it's not worth.
I would recommend for somebody like you, wait for it to be a little bit cheaper. Obviously on PC it's already cheaper. You can get it a little bit cheaper, here and there. But yeah, I would totally recommend if you're just gonna play through it once, try to get it for like probably 30 quid is the sweet spot.
I was thinking,
there.
25, 30 quid. I would probably I'd be tempted. But although right now I've got Persona 5.
But even that, like look at it, it's a gorgeous game. You'll see the cutscenes now. Like it's the production value is absolutely incredible.
So how come the controls? Well, how are the controls? Are they as tight and as as good as the last one? Because we both finished. You got the platinum for. There he is. You got the platinum for Final Fantasy.
It plays extremely similarly to Resident Evil 2, but it's tighter. It's more of an action focus. So they've tightened up the controls a little bit, the aiming. You'll see I demoed the dodge move in a little bit for you. That was something that was actually in the original 90s game, where if you press the attack button at the exact moment a zombie attacked you, you would kind of do a dodge move, which was there to counter the fact that there were more zombies versus Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
And they do the same in this, but it's a far more useful mechanic. It's very much central to this. If you tap R1 at the right time, you'll do a dodge that you can avoid a zombie.
I think we spoke about that bit when we did that review video of Resident Evil 2. We said that like it was great, but you go like about 2 meters away from a zombie and it will grab you, and there's no way of getting out. So something like that would be great. And there's the traditional yellow tape means you can go through it.
Yeah. I almost feel like if I went back to Resident Evil 2 now, I would be kind of missing that dodge. That's how well they've implemented it.
Yeah. So which gonna go straight in there. Which is your favorite, Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3 Remake? Well, Resident Evil 2 Remake or 3 Remake?
Resident Evil 2. Like Resident Evil 2 Remake is astounding. There's so many parallels between these modern releases, so the 2019 Resident Evil 2 and the 2020 Resident Evil 3 versus the 90s games. Resident Evil 3 was always kind of a bit of a disappointment after Resident Evil 2 was just this astounding success and introduced survival horror to the masses, really kind of built the PlayStation brand, was just known as this game that was extreme, had a lot of value to it because multiple campaigns and all this kind of stuff. And then 3 came along. It was a single campaign. It was more action focused. It kind of felt like an expansion. All of those descriptors can be mapped to Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is really weird. You think they would have avoided those pitfalls? They've kind of embraced them. It's still more action centric. It's still shorter, which is why it's getting that criticism. It's shorter in terms of there's one campaign. There's no new game plus or anything like that.
But there is multiplayer, isn't there?
There's a totally different game. So the reviews that you're seeing should only be focusing on this single player campaign. Resistance is a separate thing that you get kind of free with this game, and it's not very good, so that's why they've separated it. But you get a separate executable to play that.
Okay, so it's something totally different.
You only get it by paying for this game. No doubt it'll be free at some point, but yeah, I think they've been very careful to separate that from this experience, so not to get knocked on the stores.
And that's available already, is it?
Yes, that's out.
Okay, did you play any?
I played the closed beta ages ago and really didn't like it, so I haven't touched it since.
So you're not going for the platinum on that then?
No.
So, what is happening? Why is he chasing her without giving any end game spoil? I don't know if there's going to be if the reason is you find out at the end or.
So I'll give you the quick high level. So Resident Evil 1, the STARS members who are from Raccoon City, they're kind of a specialized police team. They went to investigate a mansion. They found loads of zombies there. Umbrella were doing experiments. Jill was one of the members that was there. She was one of the playable people. You can play as her or Chris Redfield. In Resident Evil 3, you start in Raccoon City at the same time that everything's kind of kicking off when you played Resident Evil 2.
Oh, right.
Jill is kind of in hiding. There's a whole conspiracy going on in the city. Umbrella are controlling it from behind the scenes. The Nemesis monster that's chasing her has been sent by Umbrella to assassinate all of the STARS members. It's specifically there to assassinate them. The only word that it says is STARS. So the majority of this game is that Nemesis kind of chasing you down as you make your way through a city that's also falling apart because of the zombie outbreak.
Okay. So and what's your task? You've just got to escape it. And...
You literally, you start. If you look around her apartment, there's a bit of exposition there. She's getting ready to escape the city. She knows that shit is going down. She doesn't necessarily know there's going to be the zombie outbreak, but she knows that Umbrella's trying to get her.
Yeah.
So she's going to try and escape the city in a couple of days. Turns out she's too late. The city's going to fall to pieces anyway. Your mission is basically to survive, at least at the start, and then, as games tend to do, you start to kind of unravel the mystery a little bit and try to save the city. If you finish Resident Evil 2, you'll probably know that that's not going to happen, but you're going to try and save the city in some way.
Nice.
There's no grand kind of arching story. It's basically survive, but also, be a nice person.
How do you... yeah, so, I mean, why is this one of your favorite game series? Is it the story? Is it the combat? Is it the characters?
Look, a large part of it is because I played it so young, like Resident Evil 1 and 2 on PlayStation. Same with Final Fantasy 7 and those kind of games. Like, they've left a big imprint on me because they were the first, and Metal Gear, obviously, the kind of first big boy games that I played. But also, it's just a completely classic series. Like, Resident Evil 2, still to this day, is played by speedrunners and kind of revered as a horror classic. What I really love about Resident Evil is how kind of referential it is. The fact that we're getting these remakes and they kind of, this scene. So as we go through this door, this is the start of Resident Evil 3. This is literally the first scene of Resident Evil 3, and they've just kind of recreated it. Oh. And the fact that it's, like I said, so referential. They know there's so much reverence for the games, and they're kind of thematically linked. So again, like Final Fantasy, where each game kind of is different in terms of characters and story, but has these kind of elements that it always touches upon. Resident Evil is the same. It's kind of a Japanese thing, I guess, where you always get the green herbs. You're always going to get a rocket launcher at some point. You're always going to get a magnum gun. You're going to try and get a ranking at the end of it. So I guess Resident Evil for me is kind of like a comfort zone thing where I kind of know, okay, I'm going to play a mainline Resident Evil game. I expect a certain level of quality and a certain type of gameplay experience. And as much as they're kind of changing it and they're modernizing it, and Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 are a classic example of that, like these games play better than most action games, outside of the series, you've still got those kind of tropes that, I find comfort in because they were there when I was a kid.
And is the map as good as Resident Evil 2? Because that was one thing that was, I think we spoke about how much we loved that it would show when there's a locked door. I mean, is there that kind of thing in this game, or is it more open world type where there isn't that thing about finding keys as much?
You've still got the same kind of basic Resident Evil gameplay of explore an area, there'll be a locked door, explore a bit more, find a key to get through it, that kind of stuff. And the map is just as functional as it was in Resident Evil 2. Personally, I found that I didn't use the map as much. Just because of the way that this game is designed. It is kind of more linear, actually. Like the section that we're seeing now is the very start of the game, and we're going to go into the section that you would have played in the demo, where you're kind of in a bit of open Raccoon City.
Yeah.
But once you get out that area, the design becomes a little bit more kind of siphoned and linear.
Yeah, because it felt very open when I was playing it. Because I was like, I'm going to try and go as far as I can from where it dropped me off, and I didn't realize that was where it wanted me to go actually, and then went back and I think I finished it in 20 minutes. Yeah,
the map just, like I said, the map is as functional. It's just you don't need it as much. Like the police station in Resident Evil 2 is this masterclass of design and this kind of labyrinthian experience where, I know that place like the back of my hand now, but it took me a long time, and it's very dense, and, you find a key to get into a certain area, which will then allow you to get into 2 other areas. Very kind of Metroidvania in that way. This game doesn't really do that. It's kind of a lot of separate areas. The focus of this game is the action. They throw a lot more enemies at you, but it's still not to the point where it kind of the survival horror element suffers. This is a scary game. It's a hard game, but it isn't. It very much mirrors what Resident Evil 2 was to Resident Evil 3 in the 90s, where Resident Evil 2 was the survival horror experience. Resident Evil 3 was a similar thing, but it kind of upped the ante in terms of body count and weaponry and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It isn't as, I would say, kind of handcrafted as Resident Evil 2. At certain points it kind of feels like, okay, I'm just playing I don't want to say generic, but I'm kind of just playing an action game, whereas Resident Evil 2 always kind of felt very bespoke and very crafted.
Yeah. Oh, there's old Nemesis. He's a great character.
Glad you like it.
I like it. I appreciate a very, very scary enemy.
He's great. Like, throughout the game he evolves. This is the big reveal, so his cloak is just kind of burnt off. You kind of get to see his redesigned face and all this kind of stuff. During these encounters, these kind of set pieces where he hunts you down, you can actually take him on, which is the same in the original 90s game. So if you take him down, you get a bonus item.
Okay, so you can fight him.
Yes, not at this point. Like, we're still very much in the opening.
Oh.
So this is very directed, but once we get through the next little section and we get to that demo sequence, this is Carlos. Yeah, you've seen his tits. When we get to the kind of open section, that's where when he turns up, if you want to, you can take him on.
Okay, that's kind of cool. You can just choose.
Yeah.
What's the so you've played it and you finished it in like an hour.
Well, first time I played it, I finished it in 6 hours. Now I've got it down to about an hour, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Think you can get it below an hour?
Hope so.
I could. I've seen people do it, but I'm done with the game. Like, I've platinumed it. I've deleted it. I'm done.
You do. Okay, you're just ready for Final Fantasy 7.
Absolutely.
What would you say for somebody then that's brand new to this?
I'm fine.
To the series,
Yeah.
I would
this
say
be a
play
place-
Resident Evil 2.
Play 2. Okay.
So I like these movie posters on the wall. There's kind of a lot of like ambient pieces around, and a lot of them are nods to like 80s films. And a lot of them are quite meta as well. Like, those movie posters actually mirror the evolution of the Nemesis throughout the game. So he starts off as like there's a Terminator parody poster, then it turns into like more of a monster type film like poster, and then there's a squid film, and that actually mirrors the transformation of the Nemesis throughout the game as you encounter him in different sections because he evolves. Which obviously I didn't pick up on until I finished the game and replayed it. So there's a lot of like really clever nods like that.
As you played the original, did you find it kind of easy to finish and to like work out the puzzles because you played the original, or are they revamped?
So with Resident Evil 2, like, where they took that kind of story and then kind of just had really rebuilt that game, reimagined that game, but had a lot of similar. The police station was kind of the same venue, but kind of designed differently and all that kind of stuff. This game almost throws away most of Resident Evil 3 OG. Like, it's Jill, yes, it's Carlos, yes, the Nemesis is there, yes, you're in Raccoon City. Nothing else is the same.
Yeah.
None of the puzzles, nothing like that. Like, Resident Evil 3, the original game, wasn't very puzzle heavy anyway. Neither is this, to be honest. Different puzzles, different locations. They've actually cut out some of the locations from the original game, which was kind of a grumble of the fans, but I think it works to its benefit. Very much like Resident Evil 2, where, yeah, it's a remake, but the two are not transposable. They're very, very different games outside of like characters and story points, high level story points.
Okay. Is there any DLC with this?
A couple of costumes. So because I pre-ordered the game, I can play as Jill in a kind of a reimagined original costume. So Jill's costume has always been quite controversial. Have you seen how she was originally designed?
No, I haven't. No.
She kind of wears a blue boob tube.
Oh,
and
actually,
a
I
leather
think
skirt.
I might have seen that as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of controversial back in the day. Like, the story excuse was, well, this is set during the summer. She was just at home, and then, like you saw, Nemesis just kind of attacks her, so she wasn't dressed for combat, this kind of stuff. Obviously, they've redesigned her now. She kind of looks to me like the modern Tomb Raider in terms of just, vest, top, jeans, that kind of stuff. But kind of a little uninspired, but also, you're not running around in a boob tube. But if you pre-order the game, you've kind of got... it's not the exact same design. It was the same in Resident Evil 2 that you could play as the kind of original look of the characters, but they kind of put a bit of a modern spin on it. So that's the only DLC at this point. I'm sure there'll be more down the line.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm in.
Resident Evil 2 had kind of arcadey modes and stuff like that.
Not yours.
Oh, hey. It's cool. We all want the same thing.
Is there any end game? I guess not.
The end game is replaying the game and playing it at harder difficulty. So each time that you finish it, you unlock a harder difficulty, and then you just go through the challenge, the challenge list. So basically, there's a challenge list. If you complete each challenge, you get a certain amount of points, and then those points can be spent in a shop, which unlocks items. which so you can start the game with extra carrying capacity or with keys that you would normally need to search for, or if you spend enough money, an infinite rocket launcher or an infinite AK-47, that kind of stuff. Okay. So this is me picking up a note. There's lots of notes in the game, just kind of exposition, that kind of stuff. One of the challenges is to find all of those. There's like 60 of them in the game, so you need to find all of those to get the platinum.
And I'm guessing, obviously, there's no... When you replay it, you just play exactly the same story again. It's not like... Nothing like Resident Evil 2 with the...
You don't get
other character.
You don't get the alt campaigns, no. When you... So normal and hardcore pretty much play the same, just with kind of, the enemies have got more HP, that kind of stuff. When you get to Nightmare and Inferno... they actually remix enemy positions and start putting items in different places and stuff like that. But the core story is the same. Yeah. And to be honest, it's not as if the core story is all that complex anyway. Like I said, it's basically a survival story of she's under attack, she needs to escape the city, and if she can, she'll try to save the city on the way out.
I'm quite impressed you managed to finish it on Inferno. How was it? Did you die a lot?
The game is quite so I'm showing you here, these are all the items that I've unlocked that I can now start with. So if you remember from Resident Evil 7, you could actually get coins that you could hold and give you bonuses. They've carried that into this game. So like they can boost your defense, boost your attack, boost... two of them actually revive your health over time, that kind of stuff. In terms of getting through the harder modes, the game is actually quite generous in terms of it lets you play with these bonus items. So the challenge of getting through those and getting an S rank, so I could platinum it, was to do it under 2 hours, or 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
But I was going through it with like a rocket launcher, an infinite rocket launcher, smashing people. But you have to do enough challenges to unlock that.
Okay.
So that's where I've done the 30 hours, basically, is kind of going through I'd probably finished this campaign 7-8 times.
Wow.
In order to do the challenges. So there was a certain point, if you watched my Twitch, I was literally just going through this on the easiest difficulty, hunting for collectibles and stuff like that, just doing the challenges to unlock the currency, to unlock weapons that I can then go and do the harder modes on. Obviously people who do the speedrunning community, for instance, which is really big in Resident Evil, like they're hard at work at the moment, kind of actually doing legitimate runs through Inferno to try and get S ranks at the end of it without using any of the weapons and stuff like that. It's a totally different ball game. Especially with Inferno. So with Inferno, the autosave is turned off, so you have to manually save. So for instance, if you don't save throughout the entirety of the game and you die on the last boss, you start the game again.
Wow.
But like I said, you can get through the campaign in an hour, so it's not as bad as it sounds.
I do. I mean, that's the first bit of Nier Automata, isn't it? If you die in the first 45 minutes there, you have to redo it all.
Yeah.
So this is obviously from the demo that a few people played. So I recognize this quite a bit, and I have done since you came out of the underground. Is there anything different, or is it just literally that bit that was taken out?
There are some minor differences. They clearly so that's the dodge, by the way.
There we go.
So that was a perfect dodge. That's why it did the kind of screen effect.
So you ran past here. I went right when I went here the first. I came out that way, and then something appeared, as you might know, coming up. But
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I went a different way there.
There are some changes. I don't think it's necessarily like kind of development changes. I think it's that they changed the demo a little bit, just in terms of like a little bit of enemy placement, a little bit of the running of the demo, just to kind of give you that more contained experience. That's another dodge.
Yeah, I like that. I wish they'd included that in Resident Evil 2. Although that was less of an action game, so I don't know if it would be...
Yeah, the thing is with 2,
suitable.
like 1 or 2 zombies were a threat, whereas in this, it's like, okay, we're throwing 5 zombies at you and you've got a wider area.
Yeah.
So the dodge makes more sense. Like, it's really cool.
That's true. Oh.
We're going to pick up the hose.
Just looking at this reminds me of how much I love 2. 2 and 7. I love 2 and 7. I know it's 7 upset some people because it wasn't as Resident Evil-y as they thought others
7
were.
Doesn't upset me. I just don't like it. Just doesn't register in the same way as the other games. I just don't. I look at it as a horror game, not a Resident Evil game. Maybe rightly or wrongly. I need to play it again.
I am someone who, for me, Resident Evil 7 was the first Resident Evil game I finished, and it was also.
So you've got a totally parallel, opposite experience.
And I played the vast majority of that in VR as well, which just.
That's the very impressive thing about that game is that they did that successfully.
Yeah. If 8, I really hope 8 is like that. I know it's going to upset people I think they've already announced pretty much that it will be in VR, or it's been leaked so much that it's going to be in VR. So I'm looking forward to playing that because I just love 7. It was one of those, you know, the experiences like the first time you play a 3D polygon game, or the first time you play a game in 4K or in higher than 60 FPS or 30 FPS.
Yeah.
You kind of it's a different experience, and that's exactly what happened with me with.
I don't think it
Resident
will
Evil
be in
7.
VR. It might be first person. I
Yeah.
think the VR train is kind of gone on in terms of releasing the next, Resident Evil game on it.
If they
it's
did, they'd
potentially
want
first person.
Yeah, I'm going to be disappointed if they don't, but I'd understand it. So yeah, this is where the demo ended.
Yeah. So we're going to show you.
Yeah, because I had
what
something.
happens after the demo.
Yeah, that was different for me with the demo.
Yeah.
Because I popped out of that place where you got the pliers from, and Nemesis.
That
was there.
still happens. Basically now, because I've got the chain cutters, I could now go back and get that shotgun and then come back through. If you do that, then Nemesis shows up. Whereas I'm going to go this way and kind of show you a little bit extra of the story and kind of what happens next in the game.
Okay, and this is still like the first chapter, more or less.
Yeah, this is very much the opening still.
Come on, don't look at me like that, alright? I'm not ineffective.
So all of these cutscenes, kind of when you're replaying it, you would just skip. Just press Option, square, boom, you just skip it really quickly and you're through to the next scene, which is how you kind of get through it a lot
He
quicker.
might have been infected.
Oh, stars, this soft. No wonder so many of you dead.
And what are you, UBCS?
The character models are just so good. She's beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? These look like they're based on real people. I imagine they are.
They are. They scan people in.
Yeah.
Go back to the subway
These,
station.
I noticed it first with Hellblade, just how close. Oh, and especially Death Stranding as well.
And something I'll say
crazy.
for this game, and it was the same for Resi 2 as well. Like, we're at the point now where consoles are starting to kind of, struggle a little bit with the modern games. This runs beautifully. It's,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a constant 60, but it's aiming for 60.
And
Which
this
in
is
this
on a
day and
PS4
age,
Pro, yeah?
this is on Pro. It looks beautiful, and it just, you can tell, they've kind of thought about being Japanese developers, kind of console-centric market, all this kind of stuff. They've thought about, okay, what are our limits to make sure that this game runs correctly? We're not going to have everything looking incredible and then it runs at 20 frames a second. We want it to aim for 60, but also make it look as good as we can. And for me, they just found this really, really nice sweet spot.
How's the menu, like inventory? Is it similar to Resident Evil 2, you said? Yeah.
Identical, yeah. Same noises, same look, all that kind of stuff. You'll see a little bit of it in a bit.
Is there any controversy with this, or is it just the time that upsets some people? There hasn't been anything in the news
There's
about.
a couple of locations cut out and that kind of stuff. Okay. I'll be honest, as I was playing through it, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I get the criticism. This is nowhere near as good as 2, all this kind of stuff. Now that I've kind of rinsed this game for all that it's got, I'm really happy with this. Again, it's not Resident Evil 2. It isn't that marquee experience. To be honest, if they released this as DLC for Resident Evil 2, this would be up there with, the Red Dead Redemption 1 DLC, the Mass Effect 2 DLC in terms of the best expansions of all time, which it kind of feels like a bit of a backhanded compliment to the game, right?
Yeah, give a whole game as a DLC.
But what you'll notice is, if you go to PSN right now, they're already selling this as a collection. This you can already buy the 2. This very much feels like the 3rd campaign of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Which for me as a fan is fine. I'm more than happy to spend 50 quid on this. Again, in your position, I totally understand that for a 5-hour experience, probably not worth it yet.
For me, rather than have it as DLC, because it's a separate game, I'd have probably made it, got rid of that online stuff and just said, okay, it's £30. Because there's not the 2 different, runs that you can really play with, like in Resident Evil 2. But it's a smaller game, so it's cheaper, but it's just as fancy. And I'm wondering if
I think that does kind of devalue the game, like literally, but also figuratively. Like I said, I've put 30 hours into this game. This is probably the most fun that I've had playing a video game this year. So, I get it's not necessarily for everybody, and I think that's where some of the criticism is coming from. This is disgusting, by the way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus.
If you listen to a lot of the criticism, it's that, okay, Resident Evil 2 for everybody pretty much, right? It was universally acclaimed. Even for people that are just playing it through once, it's this incredible experience. This isn't necessarily that, but for people that really like Resident Evil, like to replay the games multiple times, get the ranks and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of just as good. So yeah, I'm a lot happier with this game than I thought I was going to be when I went into it, and also in terms of how I felt kind of halfway through playing the first campaign. And probably when I finished the first campaign, I was like, yeah, that's really good. But then playing it through multiple times and kind of seeing actually how well they put it together and how well they've separated kind of bonuses and all that kind of stuff, I think it's really good.
Apologies to anybody watching this while eating. Although there's been a few gruesome bits, but this is like a boss battle or...
No, so this is like an area where you need to turn all these fuses. I'm gonna die in a second.
Oh my god, is this...
the end of the gameplay.
Are you gonna... Wow, is this like Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, maybe if you turn on fuses in that game. In this section, basically, you need to turn on 4 fuses, either kill or avoid these people, or these spider things, I should say, and then kill them, like by turning on the massive electricity generator. What we're going to see is Jill die, because I wanted to see what that death cutscene looked like.
You never died. Did you manage to play the game then without dying?
I died, but I reloaded my save, so that it doesn't count at the end. Yeah. So we're going to see it.
Scum save.
Well, not really. I just relied on the auto-save. I never actually saved manually, which makes the game kind of harder in a way. So she's about to die. We're going to see a gruesome death. Little spiders are going to come out of her.
Oh, Jesus, gone all alien.
Jill is dead.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to take you back now to the main menu and kind of show you the bonus stuff to kind of see what you're unlocking and all that kind of stuff. I love the presentation. Nice and minimalistic.
I like a good AAA horror game.
Yeah. So here's you unlock concept art, which some of it is really nice. So here's a bit of Jill.
There you go, straight away.
There's Nemesis looking cool. No, we don't worry about Carlos. There's Mega Man.
Okay.
So Mega Man turns up as like a toy in the game, and you unlock some really kind of high-res models and stuff as well that you can play about with and look at.
That's cool. I imagine that's a collectible in with the collector's edition. Or so?
No, you unlock this stuff by playing through the game and getting.
And I mean, like
challenges.
the actual model you can probably get.
The model for what?
But the physical model.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, probably.
You get the ultra premium edition.
And these are the challenges then. Oh no, sorry. This is the shop. So these are the things that you can buy. And then these are the challenges. So just loads of basic stuff like just that you'll get just from completing the game. But then other stuff like defeating a certain amount of enemies.
Jeez, 2,000. You've killed 2,000 enemies, John.
Yeah, so it is more action orientated, like I said. So yeah, you need to do all those, and they basically map to the platinum.
Well, that was. Did you enjoy that when you played it?
I loved it. I really, really loved it. I'm so happy with it.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you very, very much, Jordan.
Thank you, Ben.